Welcome to Learn Short and Typing with Vikas sir. Dictation for Parliament, exercise number 4 and 5th, 140 to 150 word per minute. Be ready? Start. He stated clearly that he dissented from the last paragraph of the resolution, a very inconscious one, nevertheless with very considerable meaning. In fact, the whole resolution led up to this paragraph, the rest being a preamble. Therefore, he dissented from the very basis of the resolution. Coming forward with his amendment, he said that the effect of the resolution, if carried, would be undesirable. I wondered if I had understood him correctly, or if I had made some mistake in regard to what he said. Why, I asked the Prime Minister, from any point of view or from any approach could the passage of resolution possibly be undesirable? I have given thought to this matter, but I am quite unable to understand his reasoning. Therefore, it must be undesirable from some point of view of which I am not aware and which had nothing to do with the resolution. That is the conclusion I arrived at. I would put it to the distinguished assembly with respect and without meaning offense that this is a rather trivial way of dealing with this not only important question but vital question which is shaking the world by calling it an amendment of the resolution. I submit that we are distinguished very important matters affecting this assembly and the world. The Prime Minister in his argument talked about a conference. Why does the resolution suggest a meeting or an conference? I would beg him to read the resolution again, because he has failed to understand it. It does not necessarily suggest a conference or a meeting, it suggests a renewal of contacts. Again he asked, why should two people meet? Why should not four meet? Why dismiss the United Kingdom and France? Why omit them from summit talks? These are quotations which I took down when he was speaking. Why all this? He asked. Well, simply because there is no why about it, because nobody is dismissing or pushing out anybody or suggesting it. He has missed the point of the draft resolution and has considered possibly that there is some kind of a secret motive behind this. I really regret that any such idea should have gone abroad. The draft resolution was put forward in all good faith for the purposes named in it, and to suspect it of some secret device to push out somebody or not to pay adequate respect to some country is not fair on the part of the honourable gentleman. Indeed, I greatly regret to say that the Prime Minister of Australia has done very little justice to himself in proposing this amendment. I am happy to be associated with this seminar. In coming here, I feel that we are participating in a movement of a history. This movement, more particularly in Africa, is a historic phenomenon, and any person looking at it will know in which direction the current is moving. Unfortunately, some countries and some governments, notably the Portuguese government, have not realized this yet. Some other colonial powers realized it and accepted this direction to some extent and worked to that end. But often they were pulled back by various forces, vested interests, and their own habits of mind. In the last few years, more particularly, there has been a new and powerful influence which has come in the way of liberation of the colonies. I mean the force of the Cold War. The whole world is involved indirectly in this Cold War. Africa is affected and the freedom movements are affected by the consequences of the Cold War, and this particularly applies to the Portuguese colonies. The big powers which are deeply involved in the Cold War think in military terms and in terms of the possible effect of any step taken in a colony on their interest. They may have a base in a colony, as they do have in many places, so they judge these questions from the point of view of the effect in their border policies related to the Cold War. Because Portugal has become a part of military alliance like the NATO, Portugal get special consideration sometimes from the big countries lately. Therefore, we have seen a conflict in the minds of big countries in the sense that while on the one side they encourage the liberation of the colonies, on the other side they put up obstructions in the way of this liberation. As far as I can judge, the Portuguese government have tried to profit as much as they can by this situation in the world and have indeed succeeded in profiting by it. Perhaps very recently it is doing on some of the big powers that they might be backing the wrong horse. They ought to have known that long ago. Apart from an appreciation of the normal human desire for freedom, practical considerations are gradually making them realize that it is far more important to try to win the goodwill of the people of the countries in Asia. Full stop.